Now, another area, we're speaking with Steve Frailey, by the way, from the Garden Isle of Kauai, where he is the premier grower of raw food noni. And another use that you recently discovered, although it's backed up by research too, is for diabetes. In fact, you had an interesting case recently where someone called you to tell you about how much benefit they had gained from using raw food noni.
Yeah, she actually was on a tour bus, saw Noni Bob, and buying the fruit with her, and she had been using it for about 30 days. And I think she had mentioned she was 215 was her sugar level content. And she was on drugs. She had a doctor, couldn't get it lowered. She started eating it, and she said in about 7 to 10 days, it went down to about 140, 150, and in the end of 30 days, 111. And it's one of the things we actually, when people start taking our fruit leather internally, we caution them that if they're a type 1 diabetic taking insulin, they have to monitor blood sugar levels before they take their normal amount of insulin, because it reduces the blood sugar levels, and if they take their normal amount of insulin, they'll take too much insulin. A type 2 diabetic can take as much of it as they like, and from our experience, people like 150, 160 count, within 3 to 4 or 5 days, they're down to 80, 90. Need to look at their diet, modify their sugar intake, but it definitely drops blood sugar levels.
Steve, where did noni originate?
It was very interesting. The ethnobotanists at the University of Hawaii did an all-day symposium many years ago, and they had studied it for about 4 or 5 years. They believe it either originated in northern Australia or Borneo, and then it spread out across the South Pacific, and you find it all across in tropical, subtropical climates, from India all the way to Africa and Central America. However, there are 6 different varieties of noni, and there's only one that's truly medicinal. It's the only variety that we have in Hawaii, because it was one of the canoe plants that the early Polynesians, when they started using noni, and they would get in canoes, there were about 15 different plants they took with them when they were migrating from island to island to start new cultures. Noni they took medicinally, they took their best. So when you go to Tahiti, Fiji, you actually have 6 different varieties. In Hawaii, we only have the medicinal variety because it was brought here by the early Polynesians, and that's how it got introduced.
Now, I think the Latin name is Citrus morindifolia, isn't it?
Correct. Morinda citrifolia is a botanical name, but there's many subspecies. It's from the Rubiaceae family, which is the coffee, gardenia, and that family. My partner, again, was an ethnobotanist, and so he was the one that was more versed in that than I am. I grow it and use it, and but it's very, very healing. I used to do a lot of different fruit trees in California and stuff, and when I started growing noni, it's a joy to grow. I mean, from sea level to 2,000 feet, from no water to full water to shade to sun, it grows. Extremely hardy, very dark green leaves. And what we've learned over the years is how full sun it does better, and we mulch like crazy and keep the soil rich and moist around it. And we have some of the most healthy-looking trees anywhere, and we have thousands of them. And it's a real joy to work with them. And it's fun to pick, even. So we have a good time.
Well, we're planning to do a cover, by the way, in the Doctor's Prescription for Healthy Living, everyone, on Steve's amazing noni farm on the Garden Isle of Kauai.